Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our November meeting of the Transportation Advisory Committee. Good to see you all. I do miss it when we don't have a meeting in between and miss seeing your faces and hearing your points of view. And so I'm glad to see you all today. Hope you're getting ready for great holidays and wonderful time with family and friends. This will be a virtual meeting because of our North Carolina Safe at Home order. Members of the TAC attending this meeting will participate virtually. All members will vote by roll call and will be recognized by Kelly when it's time to state your vote. Kelly, how about going ahead and doing our roll call of members, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Joins?
Here.
Mr. Adams?
Here.
Mr. Larson?
Present. I'm an alternate.
I don't think I saw Mr. Clark, so you might be his alternate today. Mr. Rogers? John
Present.
Rogers?
Present.
Mr. John Wade?
I'm here.
Mr. Horn? Mr. John Byron?
I'm here.
Mr. Myron Marion?
Folks, let me ask you a favor, please. If you're not actually participating in the conversation, how about going ahead and muting yourself? We're picking up quite a bit of crosstalk. Thank you. I'm sorry, Kelly, didn't mean to interrupt.
No worries, thank you. Mr. Marion? I will circle back. Mr. Hutchins?
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Morris?
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Clark?
Here.
And Mr. Cross?
Here.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Kelly. I think you acknowledged before that we do have a quorum.
Yes, sir.
Members, we've talked about this before, obviously our conflict of interest. If you or any member of your extended family or any business that you're associated with have the potential to financially benefit from any of the items that come before us today, we ask for you to identify that and submit in writing that conflict of interest so we can be sure that you abstain and don't participate in that discussion. Is there anybody who potentially has a conflict of interest? Excellent. Very good. Folks, if you're watching on Zoom or have called in, this is the time for our public comments meeting. This is your opportunity to share with the members of the TAC your thoughts. Kelly or Byron, do we have anybody in the wings?
We have no one.
Sir, I did not receive any comments, any requests for comments.
Okay, very good. Members, you did receive a copy of the September 16th meeting of the TAC. I believe you had a chance to review them. Are there any additions and corrections? If not, we'll entertain a motion to waive the reading and approve them.
Mr. Chair, move for approval.
I believe that Ms. Adams.
Second, Mr. Chairman, it's Allen.
Okay, Mr. Joins, Mayor Joins makes the second. Kelly, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. And before I do, I wanted to correct something. Councilmember McIntosh is Councilmember Clark's alternate, so he will be our voting member. And I saw that he was on the call.
Very good. Thank you.
Just for the record. So I will go ahead and call the roll for this vote. Mayor Joins?
Yes.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh?
Aye.
Mr. Cross?
Yes.
Apologies, I lost my place. Oh, Mr. Rogers, John Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. John Wade?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Byron?
Yes.
Mr. Marion? Okay. Mr. Hutchins?
Yes.
Mr. Morris? Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Thank you. And Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes it.
Very good. Thank you, folks. I believe, Byron, you have the first item on our agenda is amendments to our Mtip. Members, you also received a email from Kelly with some subsequent pages that weren't in our book, but were in the packet that was online. I think they were 6 or 7 additional items that we need to look at today. Byron, if you'll please go ahead and brief us.
No problem. Good afternoon, everyone. The 2020-2029 Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program is a listing of all the projects programmed for the Winston-Salem urban area. This document is a subset of the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan and reflects projects programmed, including in the State and Transportation Improvement Program. NCDOT regularly updates the STIP to include new projects and modify existing ones. This can be done for reasons such as funding, municipal requests, or schedule changes. Statewide projects are projects which are located in our planning area. As their schedules, funding, and program is modified, these changes are reflected in our Mtip. As was just mentioned, Kelly also sent out an email with amendments that were also supposed to be included in this packet that did not include in the printed document. We apologize for that. These amendments were received and reviewed, and we have gone through the information process and the public review process in July. Included in your materials and also included in your email are modifications, additions, and deletions, including statewide 5310 program modifications, sidewalk construction on Jonestown Road, which has been delayed for planning and design, sidewalk construction on Griffith Road, which has also been delayed for additional planning and design, statewide modifications to the Human Traffic Awareness and Public Safety Initiative discretionary grants, and the statewide Clean Air Technology Center funding. These amendments were made available for public review from August 10th, 2021 to September 12th, 2021 for our public participation policy. No comments were received during that time. I'll be happy to answer any questions about this item.
Thank you, Byron. Any questions for Mr. Brown? Not, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Mr. Chairman, is Allen.
Second, Cross.
Mayor Joines makes the motion. Mayor Cross makes the second. Any discussion? Very good. Kelly, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Joines,
Yes.
Ms. Adams,
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh.
Aye.
Mr. Cross,
Yes.
Mr. John Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. John Wade,
Yes.
Mr. Horn,
Yes.
John Byron,
Yes.
Mr. Marion,
Yes.
Mr. Hutchins,
Yes.
Mr. Rick Morris,
Yes.
and Mr. Clark.
Yes.
That concludes it.
Very good. Thank you. That passes unanimously. Kelly, I believe you have the next item, which is our letter of support for Davidson County projects.
That is correct. Thank you so much, everybody. Good afternoon. The item before you is the consideration of a resolution approving letters of support for Davidson County Department of Senior Services, the Workshop of Davidson, and also the Life Center of Davidson County for their NCDOT's Federal Transit Section 5310 funding application. The North Carolina Department of Transportation's Public Transportation Division administers the application and selection process for the allocation of Federal Transit 5310 Enhanced Mobilities of Seniors and Individuals with Disability Funding Program in rural areas. The Section 5310 program provides funding to improve mobility for seniors and individuals with disability by removing barriers to transportation services and expanding the transportation mobility options. The workshop of Davidson, Life Center of Davidson County, and Davidson County Department of Senior Services provide services within our NPO and also within the rural areas in Davidson County for disabled persons and individuals that are 65 years and older. Only services provided in our urbanized area are eligible for funding through our NPO. Where areas are determined not to be within our area, these providers can apply for funding through the state's Section 53 funding program. This letter of support acknowledges that these organizations acknowledges this organization's desire to participate in the state's competitive process for services provided outside of the MPO, and also that the TAC supports their application for the funding. The attached in your packet are the letters of support, including the amount that these organizations seek to apply for through the state's 50-10 program. This item is up for action at this meeting, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Members, any comments or questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve, John Byram.
Second, McIntosh.
Mayor Byram, Councilman McIntosh makes the motion and the second. Any further discussion? Kelly, please call the roll.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Allen? Mayor Allen Joint?
Yes.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh?
Aye.
Mr. Cross?
Yes.
Mr. John Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. John Wade?
Yeah.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Mr. John Byron?
Yes.
Mr. Marion?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchins?
Yes.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
And Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Element is
That
also present.
passes. I'm sorry?
Element is also present.
Welcome, Fleming.
Okay.
And you are going to be voting on this, Mr. Alamein?
Yes.
And he's a yes. Thank you. That is unanimous. Members, that concludes our action items today, but we have a number of informational items that we'll be considering at our next meeting. Byron, I believe you have the first one, is some more Mtip amendments.
Indeed. Again, good afternoon. Again, the 2020-2029 Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program is a listing of all projects programmed for the Winston-Salem urban area. Again, this document is a subset of the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan and reflects projects programming in the state's transportation improvement program. NCDOT regularly updates the STIP to include new projects and modify existing ones. This, again, can be done for reasons such as funding, municipal requests, or scheduling changes. Statewide projects are projects which are located in our planning area. As their schedules, funding, and programming is modified, this is also reflected in our Mtip. Included in your packet are modifications and additions and deletions for NC 67 or Cyrus Creek Parkway sidewalks, which is delayed to allow more time for planning. Kernersville Southern Loop Phase 1 has been amended to, due to cost increase, and Louisville Clemens Road access management and operational improvements have been amended due to cost increase. These amendments will be made available for public review between October 8th and November 12th, 2021. This is an informational item and we'll come back with the comments for action in January. I'll take any questions at this time.
Any questions for Byron? Thank you, Byron. Kelly, you have a CMAQ projects.
Yes, sir. The item before you is a review of our fiscal year 2023 federal congestion mitigation and air quality projects for the Winston urban area. CMAQ is a federal program that funds transportation projects and programs, in air quality and attainment and maintenance areas to help achieve and maintain the national standards for air quality pollutants. In North Carolina, NCDOT serves as the administrator of this program. The funding, if the funding is approved to NCDOT for populations in non-attainment and maintenance area for the state and the severity of the air quality problems. The NCDOT announced the release of the CMAQ funds for the Winston urban area for fiscal year 2023. The funds are eligible to be programmed for projects again during the year fiscal year 2023, which runs from October 1st, 2022 to September 30th of 2023. NCDOT allocated a little over $1.7 million to our NPO for that fiscal year. 3 projects were submitted for consideration. The town of Louisville requested additional funding for the Louisville Vienna Road Sidewalk Extension Project, NCDOT also requested additional funding for their NC8 and Oak Summit Road intersection improvement, as well as the City of Winston-Salem requesting additional funding for their multi-use path. All three projects have already received federal funds in the past, and that was approved by the TAC. They are requesting additional funds, citing cost increase for the projects. The Office of Environmental Assistance and Protection has evaluated all three projects and determined their daily pollutant reductions in kilograms. That information is made available in the packet in your attachments, along with the cost of each individual project. I'm here to answer any question. This is for information. This item is also being circulated for public participation as we speak. So,
Thank you, Kelly. Any questions, members?
One question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
The Oak Summit component of the application, will that extend from Rural Hall over to Germantown Road? I don't have my information in front of me. I'm at the Board of Commissioners meeting.
no problem. No, the information I have from the application, it appears to only be that intersection of Oak Summit and NC8. But I can let probably, if Pat's on the call or Fred Hayes, speak more to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, this is an intersection improvement project. It's a safety project that we've funded using some safety funds as well as a match to the local funding. But this is just for the intersection.
Okay.
Members, any other questions? I always like hearing Pat Ivy talk. It's almost like Mr. Ivy's neighborhood. It's just so calming and relaxing. It makes me want to take off my shoes and put on my sweater.
Thank you, sir.
That's why he's so great.
Matthew, I believe you have the next item. I think we introduced you at the last meeting, Matthew, but you are our new transit planner. If we didn't introduce you at the last meeting, let's see if you have a picture of yourself, and we'd like to introduce you to our group. If we did introduce you, well, we'll introduce you again. Next item's yours, my friend.
Thank you, Mayor Horner. Good afternoon, TAC. Agenda item 7 is a review of FTA Section 5310, Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disabilities Grant Program, as well as the Job Access and Reverse Commute Program under Section 5307, with plans to amend the Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program, or Mtip, for fiscal year 2021. The Winston-Salem urban area receives federal transportation funds to assist eligible agencies in meeting the needs of disabled and elderly populations in the urbanized area under the Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disabilities Section 5310 grant program. In fiscal year 21, the Winston-Salem MPO received $369,013 in Section 5310 funding apportionment, while $55,000 in funds were allocated towards JARC. These funds are allocated to subrecipients through a competitive application process. This item will be brought back to TAC for approval in January with a list of agencies with a recommendation of funding distribution. Staff will also recommend approval of an amendment to the Mtip to reflect those recommendations once approved. Dates for execution are subject to change. And Byron, if you can move to the next page, please. So on the next page, we have the call for projects timeline. Thus far, we've completed advertisements and legal notices, the 30-day call for projects, during which time we received 13 total applications across the 2 awards, 10 for 5310 and 3 for 5307 JARC, as well as the community workshop, which took place on Tuesday, October 19th. We're currently in the external subcommittee review stage. And of course, we anticipate that this will return to TAC for consideration in January. And on that note, I'm happy to respond to any questions regarding this matter.
Thank you, Matthew. Any questions for Matthew? Thank you, Matthew. You also have the next one, I believe.
I do. Yeah. Agenda item 8 is a review of FTA Section 5307 and 5339 Bus and Bus Facilities Grant Program for the Winston-Salem urban area for fiscal year 22, with plans to also amend the Mtip. Transit systems located in urbanized areas of more than 200,000 in population are eligible to use FTA Section 5307 funds for operating and capital assistance. In fiscal year 21, the Winston-Salem urban area received $5,218,133. MPO staff anticipates an apportionment of approximately the same amount in fiscal year 22. Federal fiscal year 22 began on October 1st, 2021. Staff is bringing this item for information so that when FTA announces fiscal year 22, section 5307 funding availability, there will not be a delay in allocating these funds to eligible agencies in the MPO, therefore expediting the application process through FTA. There are currently 3 transit agencies in the MPO eligible to receive 5307 funding based upon data reported to NTD. Those 3 are Davidson County Transportation, Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation or PART, and WISTA, which is Winston-Salem Transit Authority. The number of eligible agencies may increase in future years. Additionally, activities traditionally eligible under Job Access Reverse Commute or JARC program, which provides for job access for low-income individuals, continue to be an eligible activity for these funds. Based upon policies adopted by the Winston-Salem Urban Area MPO in 2017, funding will be distributed in accordance with percentages developed by FTA. Each year, MPO staff shall coordinate a joint allocation meeting with eligible agencies to confirm that the funding identified can be used by the agency and staff, and as such, that information for recommendation to the TAC will go for final approval and distribution. MPO staff will coordinate this meeting once the funding apportionment is announced. Staff will also recommend approval of an amendment to the Mtip. Now on the next page, we have 5339, which is a program, formula-based grant program to replace, rehabilitate, and purchase buses and bus facilities. This program provides available federal resources to eligible direct recipients that operate fixed route bus services or that allocate funding to fixed route bus operators. The program originated under or through the MAP 21 program or the Moving Ahead for Progress in the 21st Century Act, which changed the program from discretionary to formula-based. Funding is now designated to states and designated recipients in urbanized areas of 200,000 people or more. And in fiscal year 2021, the Winston-Salem urban area received $580,567. Of course, like I said before, the federal fiscal year 22 began on October 1st, 2021. And we will be bringing this item for information so that when FTA announces in fiscal year 2022's 5339 funding availability, there will not be a delay in allocating these funds. MPO staff will bring an item for final approval of allocation once the funding apportionment is announced. Staff will also recommend approval of an amendment to the Mtip. And of course, I'm happy to respond to any questions regarding this matter as well.
Thank you, Matthew. Anybody have any questions for Matthew? Very good. Members, that concludes our informational items for today. As always, we have a cornucopia of staff presentations, and staff members are eagerly standing by to give you the briefs on any of them, should anybody wish to have those reports at this time. Members, are there any of those reports you'd like to break out and have today? Pat, I do have one question, not related to the staff reports, but will we be receiving for our NCDOT projects any money that may help advance some of our road projects from the recently passed American Recovery Act?
Mayor, I think Mr. Perkins is on the line, and I think he'll probably respond to that.
Thank you.
Mayor Horn, how you doing? I apologize for being a little late, but I heard all the action items, so I'm up to date.
Great.
I think the issue for us is that we think North Carolina will probably receive, in terms of highways, about $7.2 billion for the state to look at continued improvement of our major byways. We think that we may be able to receive about $457 million over the next 5 years for our bridge program, continue to modernize and replace some of the older bridges in our area. We also think that in our multimodal area that potentially we may be able to get about $910 million over 5 years. Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
We may be able to get about $910 million over 5 years to improve our public transportation options. These are, again, as I said, once the details on this program, as the president's already signed, we'll know more about it. Another $460 million over 5 years for our airports within North Carolina. And then, of course, we'll continue to see if we can get funding for our rail passenger trains as well as our rail and safety program here in the state. To answer your specific question.
Once in a lifetime opportunity, it sounds like.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, y'all did well. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mayor Joines.
I'm sorry. maybe speaking for Mayor Pro Tem Adams and myself and others about the railroads, when you mentioned that, we're always wanting to get that connection over to Winston-Salem, General Perkins.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I know ever since I've been here, you and I have been talking about this for, I'm not going to say how many years, but it is still on our radar. It's still on our radar. Funding has been quite limited, and certainly the approvals and the sound recommendations for other partners have not been forthcoming, but it is still on our radar, and our multimodal vice chair is still looking at those issues.
Good. Thank you, General.
Great.
Oh my goodness, you promoted me again.
I know you're Colonel.
Members, any other snippets of the staff reports that you wish to hear?
This is Mr. Marion from Tobaccoville. I have a question for Pat.
Yes, sir.
It's not related to the staff reports, but I just noticed since they've reopened Salem Parkway, at the corridor over there with 52, we seem to be having a lot of accidents and delays and slowdowns there. Is there any particular reason that's driving that up here recently since the reopening of the Salem Parkway?
You're talking about there at the interchange with 52 and Salem Parkway?
Right, because I know they did all the improvements along 52 to remove some of those exits to streamline the traffic flow, so not everybody's getting off and on so quick. But it seems like we're still having a lot of accidents in that area.
Well, obviously the section that of Salem Parkway that we improved, definitely between 52 headed west, is actually working very well. We continue to have issues with the interchange at 52. That's been a problem area for many, many years. And of course, we did not do any improvements to that particular project. One thing that we do believe will occur is that once we get the eastern section of the Beltway open to traffic, which, by the way, we do anticipate having that section from 311 to US 52 open to traffic about a year from now. But our original estimates showed that with the opening of that road, we could see as much as a 20% reduction in traffic on 52. That alone will have a significant impact on 52, including that interchange.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marion, for the question. Anyone else?
One question, Mayor Horn, please.
Yes, sir.
I was given some information today from Chris Murphy, sort of running our planning department now, that in the city of Winston-Salem, there's no ordinance to govern when a development is created that you have to have more than one way in and one way out. I'm raising that issue because we have a problem waiting to explode on Oak Summit between Rural Hall and Germantown Road. There are two new developments coming up. One is completed, and there's only one way in the development and one way out. And now a second one is being developed right beside that one. It's going to have an overflow in excess of 200 cars minimum on Oak Summit, which is really an old farm road with no nothing to protect you from going off on either side because it's an old farm road. And then you have the trucks going over to bulk materials down that road. In fact, some residents have decided not to even go down that road at nighttime because it's just too dangerous. So my hope is that at one point we can look at that ordinance. I was told that there is no ordinance to protect the community. If a developer wants to build 300 units, he only has to put in one way in and one way out, which I find very disturbing. And then on the other end of that same neighborhood, there's an area right off of Novak Street with about 125 homes in there, one way in and one way out, which really creates a problem for those of us that are living on the street of Novak. So I'm hoping we do have that kind of ordinance. We can re-examine it. I know this is not the board to bring up ordinances, but it is a concern of mine. I wanted to bring to attention of the TAC.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Chair, if I could speak to that.
Yes, sir.
So, Commissioner, I'm facing the same situation on a development on the road, just down the road from where I live, off of Ransom Road. 219 units coming in, and it's a ribbon pavement road that is people speed on it now, and we're talking about adding a whole lot of traffic to that. So it's something that we're going to have to deal with. The problem is that we can't really load the cost of this onto the developer and require them, in a lot of cases, to provide that second outlet, because then we get into a question of affordability, and we're trying to provide as many housing units as we can at an affordable price as we can. So it'd be something, it'd be great to have some state money involved to, when we get into situations like this where it really isn't, it isn't possible for the developer to pick up all the costs and still provide a unit that people can afford. So I'm right there with you. We need to find a way to work around this or find a solution.
Maybe General Perkins can help us out on that.
I'm sorry?
I said maybe General Perkins can help us out on that.
There you go.
Yeah, I just got demoted to private now because I don't have any money.
Gentlemen, if you wish,
To be honest with you,
you can certainly contact our planner in Louisville, Stacy Talbert, because we have an ordinance that requires dual entrance for developments over a certain amount. And it's working really, really well here. And so if you would contact her, I'm sure she could provide you with a draft ordinance for you all to see how it might work in your communities.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
That was a shameless plug for Louisville. Okay. Kelly, you have some information for our newly appointed members that will be joining us in January, I believe.
Yes, sir. No, just to say that if you are an existing member, you do not have to finish your ethics requirements until April 15th of next year. So you're still good. For any new members that may be listening on the call, maybe you would have to complete your ethics requirement before you can vote in January. There will be an email coming up shortly about that information.
Great. I always look forward to ethics training. Members, we
Mayor
have,
Horn,
yes, sir.
Mayor Horn, this is Bill Apple. I'm joining you as an observer. I'm from Kernersville. I'm an alderman-elect, and Mayor Morgan is appointing me to serve on the TAC, beginning with the January meeting. I know several of you. Of course, I've known Pat Ivy since he was about 3 years old. And Mayor Horn, if you may recall, I served with you on the Piedmont Triad Partnership Board a number of years ago. I think I was about 3 years old. And but you've been acquainted for a long time, but I just wanted to sort of introduce myself as a future appointee to the TAC, and I look forward to it representing Kernersville very much.
Alderman Apple, that's so great. It's always nice to reacquaint folks in our past, and I know you'll be a great addition to our committee. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Folks, our next TAC meeting is scheduled for January 20th. This unfortunately has a little schedule conflict with the Transportation Summit that'll be held in Raleigh on the 19th and the 20th. We have a number of staff members who are participating in that, as well as your chairman. So the question to, I guess, our members, can we, or do you feel comfortable either one of these two choices, moving our meeting on the 20th back to the 18th, which is a Tuesday, or move it to the 25th, which is the week following? Any thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, I'm gone the week of the 25th, so that would be a little bit of a problem for me. But obviously we have some alternates that can fill in.
Folks, how about the 18th?
Same issue.
Okay. How about the 18th then? Tuesday the 18th. Hearing no objections. Very good. Kelly, you have your answer. Very good. Members, any final comments before we adjourn this evening?
Happy Thanksgiving to one and all.
Yeah, this is my last meeting with you all, so it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you all around. I'm sure as much as Mike Horn would like to see the last of me, that's pretty unlikely. So, I look forward to still being in service, but, not in this capacity anymore, but you guys have been great. Thank you.
Seeing the first of you has not been too displeasing, but the last of you may be even more pleasing. John, please come over and visit with us once in a while. It's you made a great contribution to Clemens. I know your leadership is respected and well thought of. In fact, so much that they wanted to draft you as a write-in this last election. But
I'm glad
thank
they
you,
didn't
John.
succeed.
That's right. Thank you, John. Appreciate your service to the committee. Members, anything else? If not, happy holidays. Everybody enjoy yourself. Gather your loved ones, give them a big hug, and be kind to each other. With that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Alderman.
John Payne makes a motion. think it was Mayor Joines that made the second.
McIntosh.
I hear people falling like walnuts in the fall, so we won't have a roll call. We'll just assume by unanimous acclamation we're adjourned.
So moved.
Thank you, folks.